you guys? This is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Season 2, aka JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, Episode 1. Alright, that's a little long to put in the title down below, so I'm just going to put Stardust Crusaders, but yeah, it's back. JoJo is back, and I knew I had to review it. I knew I had to, so here it is, my review for Episode 1. And, it starts off with these dudes, alright? These dudes pulling Dio out the ocean, alright? One dude knew that something was up. One dude knew that, this thing is trouble, alright? This is not a treasure chest. There's something wrong here. It's locked from the inside. It says Dio on it. There's clearly something wrong here. It's a little too big. There's something wrong here, but oh well. that was all she wrote for those guys, alright? Dio Brando was inside there, and he just took them out, alright? They will never be seen again, alright? And Dio Brando, let me tell you something about Dio Brando, alright? Through the entirety of Season 1, alright? Part 1, Phantom Blood. Part 2, Battle Tendency. Throughout the entirety of Season 1, Dio Brando, my favorite character, hands down. The dude is evil. He is evil. He's an amazing villain, one of the best of all time, alright? And he was my favorite character, alright? No one else was coming close. Joseph was cool, but he wasn't as awesome as Dio, alright? And I didn't think anyone would ever come close to Dio. I really didn't. Alright, but Jotaro, alright? He's not quite at Dio's level yet, alright? But he might get there. He might. I got some hope for him, alright? He might just give Dio that challenge, alright? And speaking of Jotaro, this dude, first of all, he's 17. He doesn't look it, but he's 17, alright? And the very first, well, it's actually the second time we saw him. We saw him at the end of Season 1, like last 20 seconds of the last episode. But the first time we get him in this episode, turns out he's been arrested, alright? Arrested for these thugs with knives and nunchucks and crap. One of them was a former boxer, right? These thugs attacked Jotaro, and he completely wrecked him. There was, what did the guy say? Like, there were 15 broken bones or something like that? Like, Jotaro completely wrecked these dudes, right? And his mom was there, Holly. She went to go pick him up and get him out of jail. She thought he had like killed some dudes. Like, wait, just how crazy of a kid is Jotaro if you think he's in jail for killing people? Like this, like, yo, Jotaro, you know there's something up with this kid, alright? Just a little background for Jotaro and his family. He is the grandson of Joseph Joestar. His mom is Holly Cujo, who is the daughter of Joseph Joestar. Her husband is a jazz musician, which is, I'm assuming, where Jotaro got the last name Cujo from, because his mom took the last name of her husband, whoever he is. And yeah, that's his dad's on tour, so probably not going to show up in this. Well, maybe he will. Who knows? But yeah, that's a little background into them. Now, the first time we legitimately see Jotaro in this episode is when he's in the jail cell, and like his mom starts running towards him like she's happy he's all right and all this stuff. And he just like starts cursing her out and crap. I'm like, yo, like that caught me by surprise. But her mom hears it, and she's like, she's loving it. Like, she loves being called names like that. Like, this chick's like she must be a masochist or something like that. Like, she's crazy. Like, right off the bat, the anime had me laughing and stuff, right? And after that, we get to slightly, well, yeah, definitely more serious stuff, but the comedy aspect never really left throughout the episode, but still kind of serious stuff, where Jotaro was talking about why he doesn't want to leave, because the officers are trying to get him to leave the jail, but he wants to stay. And that's because he has this evil spirit that's possessing him, alright? And that evil spirit is how he's somehow able to get a boombox inside the jail cell, and the latest issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. Because if you didn't know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump back in like the 80s. And the current part 8, I think, JoJo Line, I think that's the current part, is serialized in one of the monthly Jump magazines, like Ultra Jump or something like that. Right? So, yeah, in case you didn't know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a Jump series. That's why you had Shonen Jump. That's the only way you could get Shonen Jump in an anime is if you're a Shonen Jump series. You're certainly not going to see Fairy Tail or a series from some other magazine with Jump. But yeah, I got a little bit of a tangent there. But yeah, he's being possessed by this spirit, this evil spirit, and he can't fully control it. That's why he wants to stay in there. All right, and in order to prove just how dangerous this evil spirit is, he uses it to take the gun of one of the officers, and then he puts the gun to his head, shoots himself, and we can see the arm of the evil spirit. It catches the bullet so that Jotaro doesn't die. All right. So the police officers couldn't see it though, but Jotaro can and Holly can. Right. And in order to get some help, Holly goes and calls Joseph in. So she goes to meet him. And this was funny because not only is she a masochist, but she's got an Oedipus complex too, right? Or maybe not. Maybe she just likes men in her family. Like, it doesn't even matter who it is. Like she's like a masochist. She's got an Oedipus complex. She's into incest too. Like I don't even know. Like this chick is crazy, right? But she's fun though. She's a fun character. JoJo was just a fun series. She started tickling Joseph, and at one point it looked like he was in legitimate pain or something. He was like screaming out like in actual pain and all. It was hilarious because all these people around like just started staring at him. Like what is going on with these two? Like, and he's like, oh, what are you staring at? There's nothing to see here. It was funny. But he hears the situation from Holly, what's going on with Jotaro, and he thinks he can help. Right, so he calls Avdol over because Avdol was like sitting on the side there, and all three of them go to the jail, talk to Joseph, talk to Jotaro. I'm gonna keep saying Joseph instead of Jotaro. They talk to Jotaro. Jotaro doesn't think that they can do anything to help him, and he proves that by stealing the pinky off of Joseph's artificial hand. Right, so Joseph decides to leave things to Avdol. And Avdol is this Egyptian guy that Joseph met a few years back, and he has a stand, right? And it's called Magician's Red, and it can control fire and stuff like that. So it forces Jotaro up against the wall in the back of the cell, and it was hilarious because in JoJo, you gotta pose, and Magician's Red. This thing was doing as many epic movements as possible when it was using that fire to push Jotaro up against the wall. It was like doing all these like moves and stuff to like get the fire at Jotaro. It was hilarious. And once Jotaro does get pushed up against the wall, he activates his stand fully. So it's not just the arm we see, now it's the entire thing. And he's able to push Magician's Red back. And he grabs Magician's Red's throat. Magician's Red's, 2 apostrophe S's. He grabs Magician's Red's throat, and the damage actually gets transferred to Avdol. You can see the impression on Avdol's throat as Jotaro's stand's hand grabs the throat of Magician's Magician's Red, all right? But all these apostrophe S's, all these possessors. All right, so in order to push Jotaro back some more, Avdol uses Red Bind. All right, so, and it's more fire. The fire wraps around Jotaro and then pulls him against the cell so that he can't move. But it also covers his mouth in order to make his breathing weaker, which is a little bit of a throwback to the last season, the first 2 parts of JoJo, since breathing was obviously important for ripple energy and stuff like that. And keeping on the whole theme of like life energy and stuff like that, Joseph explains to Jotaro that stands are actually that this evil spirit is in fact the stand, and that stands are these visions created by life energy, or created with life energy, right? So Jotaro, he doesn't really care, because he's kind of being pulled up against a jail cell right now by fire, so he kicks a table back, toilet breaks, water shoots out everywhere, and hits Jotaro, which is actually kind of gross, but it puts out the fire. All right. Then he steps out of the cell to attack Abdul with the bars of the jail cell, but Abdul just turns his back to him and walks away. He's like, "Hey, Joseph, I got him out the cell just like you wanted. My job here is done." All right. So Joseph. Now I'm saying Jotaro instead of Joseph. Joseph is able to get Jotaro and Holly and Abdul to this cafe so that they can talk some business and talk about stands and all this stuff. Holly isn't really into it for the first little bit because, like I said before, incest, alright? She's of the belief that incest is wincest, just like half of Japan when it comes to anime. Which, this will just be one of the series with incest in it, hinted at incest, because tomorrow, or I guess at this point it's today, but tomorrow we get the premiere of Mahou ga Koku no Atose, aka The Irregular at Magic High School. So that, yeah, that'll be awesome. Not for the incest, but just because it's awesome. But whatever. JoJo. Alright, so once they actually do get down to business, Joseph explains the entire situation going on with Dio. He explains all that to Jotaro and Holly and Abdul. And I don't really see any need to go into detail in this review, because if you saw Season 1, you know about that already. And if you haven't seen Season 1, you should go watch it, because it would be helpful to know when it comes to Dio's character development in those 2 seasons, along with Joseph in parts. I said 2 seasons, I meant 2 parts. It's 1 season, but 2 parts. It'll just be useful, alright? It'll just be useful to understand how the Jotaro family's curse and Dio is so intertwined and all this stuff. It's just useful. So if you haven't seen the first season, you should just go and watch it. It's good. So, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ripple Energy, but even then I still thought that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Season 1, aka Part 1 Fan of Blood and Part 2 Battle Tendency, I still thought they were good. So you should go watch it. It'll be helpful. I mean, you should watch it because this is Season 2, but whatever. just common sense would say that you should watch it. You don't have to, but you should. But yeah, after talking about the Dio stuff, Joseph went on to say that he himself actually has a stand as well. He developed one a year ago. And the reason he got a stand, and the reason Jotaro got a stand, it's for the same reason, because of Dio. Alright? They are linked to Dio through this red strand of fate, pretty much. Essentially, it's that curse I mentioned before that keeps the Joestar family intertwined with Dio and stuff like that. And because of Dio's revival, they have developed these stand abilities. So it seems as though stands are replacing Ripple Energy, which I like, because like I said, like a second and a half ago, I was never really the biggest fan of Ripple Energy. I thought it was stupid. They would develop rules for Ripple Energy, and the next episode they would break those rules. It made no sense. But whatever. This isn't about Ripple Energy. Joseph stand. So he ends up using that stand in order to. The ability it has is it lets him take spirit pictures of visions he's had in far off places and stuff like that. So these thorns and vines surround his hand. Then he has to destroy a $300 camera each time he uses it. He's got the money, so I guess it doesn't matter to him. But still, that's whatever. But I thought it was interesting that his stand was only the thorns around his hand. There's a possibility that, unlike Abdul and Jotaro, his stand isn't powerful enough to manifest fully. But it also could just be that, he was in a cafe and he didn't feel like fully manifesting his stand in the middle of a cafe. Though he didn't have a problem crushing a camera, so I don't know. It's not like anyone else in there would be able to see it, except for, they'd be able to, the damage would still be real, so yeah, but Yeah, so those are just two possibilities. But either he doesn't have a stand powerful enough to fully manifest, or he just didn't want to manifest because he was in the middle of a public place. Just figured it's most likely the latter. He just didn't want to because he was in a public place. But the first one's also possible, so he wanted to throw it out there anyway. The next thing he talks about is how the Jotaro family, all of them have this like star-shaped scar on the back of their neck, and apparently Jotaro and Holly never noticed this before, which I find incredibly surprising. You would think that a mother would be able to notice a star-shaped scar on her child's neck, and Jotaro would be able to notice a star-shaped scar on the back of his mom's neck. I mean, Holly had to have known. I mean, he's your kid. You've dressed him before, like when he was a baby and as a child. Like you've got to have seen his neck before. She had to have known. And if Jotaro had mentioned that star mark on the back of her neck at any point, then she would have been able to connect the dots. Oh my gosh, we both have the same scar. How would Jotaro's father have not noticed that, actually? Now, he can look at both of their necks. Like, unless you've got, like, two mirrors, then you're not going to see it on the back of your neck, of your own neck. But Jotaro's dad should be able to figure this out. Oh well, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, they've got that star-shaped scar, and seeing as though all members of the Jotaro family have that star-shaped scar on the back of their neck, he is able to figure out, once the picture comes in, Dio Brando, he has a star-shaped scar on the back of his neck too, which is proof that Dio took over Jonathan's body in order to survive. And we learn from Joseph that whenever he uses his ability, he gets the same picture, not the same picture, but the same person shows up in the picture every time, and that's Dio. Alright, and we end up ending the episode off with Dio, which was awesome. Alright. He's epic. Just those few moments were already enough to make the episode great. But we see him. And it turns out whenever Joseph uses that ability to find out Dio's location, get that glimpse of him, Dio can actually feel that through some type of like soul wavelength type of some like Soul Eater crap. So obviously JoJo came out before Soul Eater, but you get the point. some soul wavelength type of crap. So yeah, that's pretty much how the episode ends. I thought this episode was great. It's JoJo. I mean, every part is just better than the last. It just gets better and better and better. So I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. Jotaro's awesome, Dio's awesome, Joseph's awesome, Holly's awesome, Avdol's pretty legit himself, though I'm afraid he might get kind of marginalized towards it. Like I'm afraid that as the part goes on, as part 3 goes on, he's going to become less and less of a threat compared to like the enemies. Like Jotaro's going to get stronger and stronger, and eventually he's going to surpass Avdol, and Avdol's never going to change. He's always going to stay right here. That's what I'm afraid of. He might get the Speedwagon treatment. Well, no, that's the Speedwagon. No, I can't even compare him to Speedwagon. Speedwagon's in a class of his own when it comes to uselessness. He's in a class of his own. I'm afraid he's going to get left behind by everybody else in the series. But for now, he's good. So, yeah, I thought this episode was great. Great character introductions, stories looking good so far. Everything was great, so I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10, and that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys. Actually, by the way, I did a live reaction to this episode. I haven't actually cut it. I don't know how long it's gonna be though, because I don't like react to every little thing. So sometimes you get like a few minutes straight of like silence, so I cut things out. And I don't know how long my reaction is going to be yet, but I'm probably, seeing as though this review is already like 20 minutes long, I'm probably going to make a separate video specifically for the reaction instead of putting it at the end of this. So, because I already know it's enough to not put in the beginning of the video. So I'll probably just make another video after this, upload another video after this. The reaction's already filmed, recorded. But I'll probably make another video after this, specifically for the reaction. So yeah, that's it, you guys. Like I said, this episode gets a 9 out of 10. I'll be reviewing JoJo regularly. So yeah, look forward to that. And that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.